Hello and welcome to my very first tattoo video. I got my very first tattoo about 2 weeks ago and I did a lot of research leading up to it, so I figured I might as well share that with you. First of all, of course, there's the choice of tattoo and placement. I don't recommend getting a tattoo just because it looks good or cool or anything like that. To me, it was important to pick something that would that would be meaningful forever, that would never lose its meaning. So I actually took 8 years to finally settle on placement and symbolism and everything. And yeah, I also researched the meaning of the placement, for example. Initially, I wanted a tattoo on the inside of my lower arm because that felt very personal. Yeah, that's exactly what apparently it represents. It's very, well, egotistical, I suppose, in a negative, if you want to put it into a negative frame. But of course, yeah, you shouldn't, because if that's what you feel you want, then go for it. What's important, after all, is how you like it, not how you think it'll make you look to the outside world. All right, so I'm not going to go into the symbolism of my tattoo or anything like that because that's personal. But yeah, in terms of placement, I did, of course, consider whether I wanted to be able to cover it up or not. But I'm in a job where I don't need to. And frankly, I don't know. I want to say, if you want a tattoo and your workplace doesn't allow you to have those invisible areas, then you're in the wrong workplace. You should not modify your sense of self, your own body image, to match your job. You should find a job that matches you. All right. Preparation. Well, I did a lot of research on that too. Well, I watched a few YouTube videos, talked to people who already have them tattoos, and what it came down to is morning or the night before, or 24 hours before, let's say, minimum, don't do drugs or alcohol, because it'll, you want your body to be at its best when you go through this, because this is quite a lot of stress on your body. So make sure you get enough rest. Don't do drugs. Don't do alcohol. Stay sober. Eat well. And the more you do for your body's health, the better the experience will be. I was scared of the pain. I was scared whether she might finish a few lines and by then I would have had enough and begged her to please stop and take a break. None of that happened, I can say. So I could take away those fears at least. Well, apparently women, so I read, take the pain a lot better than men, or not a lot, but some. So there's that. What else? Preparation. Well, the area to be tattooed is going to be shaved, but you shouldn't do that yourself the day before or whatever, because then you'll be irritating your skin, and then the tattoo artist will have to go over it again, and then you'll irritate it further. So just leave it to the tattoo artist to shave the relevant area. What else? Don't apply creams or anything the morning off. Just keep it pure and leave it to the tattoo artist to take care of you. Care products, if you're going to use some. I found a care line. You're going to need something to wash your skin that's not going to be irritating, that doesn't contain certain chemicals that you find in everyday supermarket products. So you might actually want to go to a pharmacy to get special care products. You might find them online. I did on a German care line, I think. But actually, I stopped using it after a few days because there were a few areas that were still very sensitive, and I felt that they weren't getting better even after a week of applying this cream that was supposed to be specifically for reducing scab, and which you're not even supposed to aim for, because the scab apparently is important for the color in the end. Just another tidbit I collected. But yeah, so I stopped using that special tattoo aftercare cream, moisturizer, and instead I'm using coconut oil. I read up on that first too, of course, and there seemed to be a lot of support for coconut oil as a tattoo care product. So I tried it, and yet, sure enough, within a day or two, those sore areas stopped being sore. Awesome. Okay, so the day off, I showed up on time. I brought enough cash. What else? I brought snacks to drink, to eat. Some sugary snacks too, because the blood pressure might drop a little. And during... Okay, I might as well go into the actual tattoo session. All right, so she explained to me that the first 10 minutes were going to be the hardest, apparently, but then the body gets used to it. The first 10 minutes, did I say sessions? The first 10 minutes weren't actually all that hard. She started poking, and I was actually sitting there thinking, is that all? Is that what I was so afraid of? What the hell? That's nothing. Yeah, and then she started filling in the lines about an hour later, and that was, it was a 5-hour session. Yeah, okay, so here. This is my tattoo. Got a little birdie up here, another one down there, and the piano keys. So that took 5 hours for the actual tattoo, another 2.5 hours for the design, actually, because she did it on the day. I had already been thinking about it, of course, and had a rough plan when we started sketching, or she started sketching on my arm. But that was actually the hardest part. Standing there, waiting for her, like letting her draw on my arm and not moving too much, and that was awkward. Standing for 2.5 hours. I don't do that much. I have a desk job. Anyway, yeah, so like I said, the first lines, she started with the piano keys, the black lines, they were easy. They were nothing to worry about. It did get painful when she got to filling in, because, yeah, I don't know. Some guy in the same room did warn me that it was going to get more painful when she'd start coloring in, and it did. And most likely because it's closer to the bone right here, and that's exactly the area that got quite tense. But that was, let's say, maybe out of the 5 hours, maybe a total of 2-3 minutes were of the kind where I thought, well, I couldn't keep my face straight, basically. Yeah, I was, yeah, a little tense. Not there. Had to divert the tension to the rest of my body. And by hour 4, I want to say, my body started shaking. Afterwards, she told me, so if your body starts shaking tonight, and I'm like, yeah, it's actually been doing that for an hour or so. Anyway, nothing to worry about. Have some sugary snacks. It'll help, it'll give your body the fast energy it needs to regulate itself. So... yeah, if you're on a diet, you're allowed to break it. What else? During anything else worth mentioning? I can't think of anything. We took a couple of breaks because the artist herself wanted to have some snacks too. Refill those batteries, recharge them. And otherwise, aftercare. She wrapped my arm in cellophane or whatever you call it, and told me to leave it on overnight, then take it off the next day, and not to worry about a little liquid, fluids, being between my arm and the film, because, well, first of all, it was a little sweat, I'm sure, because it was warm underneath, but also maybe a little inflammation fluids, or maybe even some color leftovers. So, yeah, that's perfectly normal. And then she asked me to take a shower, warm, clean it up with that special soap that you should get from a pharmacy, or read very well about, research the product that you're getting anyway, if it's not from a pharmacy. Then, okay, wash with warm water so the pores would open, cleanse it, and then go over it with cold water again so the pores would close up again. And then leave it as is, and don't treat it with anything for a day or two. Let it do its own healing job. and then start moisturizing if and only when it gets too tense and dry. The scab, like I said, somebody mentioned, is important for the color, so you should, first of all, of course, not pick on it. Don't peel it off or anything like that. Just leave your hands off it and let your skin do its own thing. And yeah, when it gets too dry, I moisturize with coconut oil now. I dropped this special care moisturizer. Didn't get along with it all that well. Yeah, and the tense area have stopped being tense, like I said. 4 weeks, absolutely no sun, because your skin needs 4 weeks to completely renew itself. So, and until then, there is absolutely no sun protection, no natural sun protection on your skin. And you don't want to treat it with sunblock or anything like that while it's still, it is a wound eventually, effectively. So you don't want to treat it with anything chemical. So just keep it covered while you're out in the sun. I didn't ask whether that actually means direct sunlight or includes the shade as well. I'm keeping it safe and I'm keeping it covered. And I'm going to do that for the first 4 weeks, though I'm sure I'm going to get a little lazy in the last week. Sauna, I read you should avoid for 4 to 6 weeks as well. The tattoo artist I went to said that's not really necessary. After 2 weeks, it would be fine. And the same rules apply to sauna as to standing waters. So don't go bathing, swimming, anything like that for the first 2 weeks. After that, it's fine. But of course, when I go to the sauna, I like to then go outside. So that's not really an option for me right now, because then I'd be out in the sun. Yeah, I think that was about it. Two tattoo artists asked me to come back in once it's completely healed off for the finished photo, and checking in and seeing whether she needs to do any retouching. I don't think it's going to be necessary, but it's nice that she offers. And a good tattoo artist apparently does that, but I'm not going to go into that because there's already plenty of videos out there telling you what to do, how to pick your tattoo artist. So yeah, I honestly listened to my gut. I saw the art. I loved every single piece she did that she had posted, even if the picture, the graphic itself wasn't my thing, but the way she did it was always fantastic. So that was a good sign. And I got a good vibe, and I went to actually meet with her a couple of months before my actual appointment for the first, discussion, what I want, and got a really good impression of the studio. So that was it. I didn't do any further research. I was very sure that she was going to be clean and all that, which is important. And yeah, sure enough, she did use disposable gloves, etc., all those things that you read in how-tos and tutorials and whatnot. Right, I'm gonna leave it at that. I hope it wasn't too long. How long? Yeah, 13 minutes, way too long. I hope it was helpful to you, and if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more, and let me know what you think and what you want to hear about. Thank you very much, and see you soon. Bye bye.